Hi there, Linda Goodall here with another little hatch scratching. If you've worked with other embroidery software, you may have seen a library of shapes to make it quick and easy to create your own designs. If you have CorelDRAW 6, which integrates into Hatch, you can access shapes there. However, that version of Corel is hard to find, and hey, I use Adobe Illustrator on my Mac for drawing, and I'm not going to get CorelDRAW. Hatch does have some libraries of pre-digitized shapes that can be used for designing. They're kind of buried and they aren't really all that intuitive to use at first glance. So in this video, I'll show you where they are and some basics on using them. I used a border to create the heart design you see here, and this was all done in the Borders tool, and then I did some colorizing after I finished the border. So let's see how to do that. So I'll create a new document, go to the Lettering and Monogramming Toolbox, and click on Monogramming. And this is our Monogramming Toolbox, and over here on the Borders tab, this is how I'm going to access those hidden designs. So I'll click Add, and you'll notice that mine comes up to arrows. If you do this on your software, you probably won't see arrows because this was a library I was playing around with. It comes with Borders and Borders 2. So if you scroll through there, you can see that we have a variety of selections. Now I've created a bunch more. So I'm going to go to Cookie Cutters, and I'm going to pick this heart. There's a heart built into one of the libraries in Hatch. I just like this shape better. So there's my heart, and it just puts one out there, and it sets it as a satin border with a 2mm wide stitch. So just your default satin border. I can change that, but let's leave it that way for right now. And I'm going to click Add, and the default add is it creates another heart with an offset of 2. So if you've used the Create Outlines tool, this is just creating another outline outside that first one. And to better see it, let's change that to 4. And now you can see it. We can also put borders to the inside. So let's add another border. And I'm going to do -4 on that one. And see how it puts it right on top of that first one? That's because whenever we create a new border, it's offsetting from the last one we created. So let's do -8. Now we can change these to different stitch effects. So for example, if I want to select that one, I can change it from a satin to a motif. So when we apply a motif, the default motif goes on, but we can change that. Click on Properties, then pick a category. I'm going to pick candle wicking. These others are libraries I've created. Click half knot and click close. And now we have a nice border of half knots. And we can change these other borders. So you can edit in here, and we can add one more border. We want to add, let's change this to, was it 4? Yes, 4 will put it right on top of that border. We'll change this to a run, triple run. We'll change our first border. Let's make it wider. So I'll click on Properties again, and I'll change that to 3. And I want to change this border to a fill. We'll make it a ripple. And we need to offset it to, was it 0? We have an extra border going on in there. So I don't know what I've done here, but we can play around with it, or we can just leave it the way it is for now. I think you can get the idea of how this works. Now what else can we do? We could delete a border if we don't like it. We can change the shape. Now when we click change, we can't change the last layer to, say, a circle or some other heart shape. It's only going to change to a whole different shape, the whole thing. So if I click bell, now all our designs are applied to a bell. So let's change it back to our heart. And I'm going to see if I can, let's see, it was that last border there, I think, is the one that I want to change. If I do it offset If I do an offset 4, because it's whenever you apply a border, remember it's working from the last one. So let's see, 8. Yes, it was 8. Okay, now I'm ready to save. I'm ready to close out of here. And you can see all my objects are right over here on the resequence bar. They're on the order, they're in the order that I created them over here. So object number 1 here is object number 1 there. Now you notice that it's got this little icon. It's because borders are an object altogether. If we want to do anything with any of the pieces, we need to first break it apart, and then we need to ungroup it. And now they're editable. Now, if you do that, they are no longer a border object. So we can't click on it and go back into the borders tool and adjust anything. So really, if you get the offsets right, you're all fine here. You could actually add more borders here if you want to by using the Create Outlines tool over here on the Edit Objects. But let's just do a few color changes. So let's change that to red, change that to, get this out of the way, change that to white, change this to pink, change this to, I don't know, blue. We'll leave it at blue. And turn on True View, and there's our design. Now, notice that we have our fill on top of our satin border. That's not very good. All we have to do is just manually resequence that. And there's our border. So I think you can see that you can do all kinds of fun stuff in here, and you really don't have to, quote, digitize anything because you're working from a pre-made shape. You're just applying different stitch effects. And really, that's the biggest part of digitizing, not drawing the thing, is figuring out what stitch effects to apply to get the effect that you totally want. In the next video, I'll show you how to work with other shapes because there are some things that differentiate shapes in other software from borders in here. So Hatch treats these like borders and has some ideas about what it should do with them to make them a border, and we'll see about that in the next video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and please like and comment below. Thanks.